Thank you for all attending our third summer tour meeting. We're going to be starting the city council meeting now.
Roll call for the city council meeting of Wednesday, August 21st, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. Council President Flores, members Brzezinski, Nelson, Schaaf, Troop, Witherspoon. Titus is absent.
I'm going to ask everyone to please stand for a moment of silence and then following the Pledge of Allegiance.
If I may, Madam President, been away a little bit, but we lost somebody here on the east side that was moving up. Woody Thompson, hottest athletes that the city has ever seen. I was lucky enough to be standing at the finish line for a 100-yard dash back in those days. Bubby Woodard, who everybody knows Dr. Woodard now, Tommy Hansen, a prep kid, and Woody Thompson. And because of the double meets, Woody was third in everybody's mind. Woody won that race. Now he's winning races up there. I needed to share that with you folks because he was one heck of a kid. Thank you.
Thank you. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Motion to accept the minutes from the city council meeting of Wednesday, August 7th, 2024, and bills for payment August 23rd and 30th, 2024. Members Brzezinski, Nelson, Schaaf, Troop, Witherspoon, and Flores.
70 for first year.
Is there anyone here to speak on a repository sale? Is there anyone here to speak on a repository sale? Is there anyone here to speak on a repository sale? I'm seeing and hearing none. We will move on. I would ask the media to please line up on the left side of the room, and then the citizens on the right side, and then you have 5 minutes to speak to council. You may speak and state your name and the municipality in which you live. And the first speaker, I don't see Miss Woodard. Sheila.
I don't see.
Oh yeah, okay. We have a Miss Sheila Woger here to speak as the first one she called in reserved time. Thank you.
I was going to ask someone else to come before me. I need to catch my breath. If you could ask someone else to come before me.
You would like someone else to speak first?
Please.
Okay, well, Miss Sheila is going to yield the first spot to someone else so she can catch her breath. So the next citizen who would like to be heard may come forward to the podium. Please state your name and the municipality in which you live if you would like to be heard by council.
Hello, my name is Nancy, and I spoke to you earlier.
Can we have your last name, Miss
Nancy
Nancy?
Lagon,
Thank
Ligon. I spoke about my house that I have. I do have a house that I have. My mama passed away. Sister had their house, and they gave me, it got sent to me. It needs some work on. I did apply at the redevelopment place, and I've been going around asking for money to get some help getting it done because the funds are gone. I even spoke to Mrs. Jessie Haran, and she told me to wait till it comes and maybe until November. I'm in the house. I got the gas and stuff on. I don't have the water on because the pipes are busted. I went through my 401(c)(3) to get that done. I shouldn't have did it, but that's how I'm doing get my plumbing paid. I do work. It's a good job I have. I need help. Let's see. The roof is messed up. The man said maybe asbestos on it. He's supposed to do something, fix it on getting it done, but he said I can't get it done because maybe asbestos. I need roof help, electrical, plumbing I can handle myself and getting that done. The wood came off the siding and the porch. I do these things, getting it fixed. I've been going around asking everybody if they got utilities for the task force and everything. All the money's gone. I do need some help. If you can please tell me, I appreciate it. And I'm willing to work with anybody if they have to get done. If they find any grants, I've been trying to call for grants too, or even from my own self. But there's only so much they can do for me. If I can please come help in getting that done, I do appreciate you. I have a true cause where I stay and that those things are done. If I can meet with somebody or so they can see that it is happening and what needs to be done, I greatly appreciate your help. I do want to stay in the house. Rent's going up $1,000. It's okay. I can afford some, but my granddaughters are trying to get the lead base there, but they're getting older now, and that's passing because it's hard to get that now. Once when it was 5, I had myself on the list for that. Now she's 9 and she's now 7, so I don't know what they can do for that part there. But if they please help me with getting my house up to code, it does need to be decoded. It really does. I greatly appreciate you guys. You can help me. Thanks for listening to me, and thank you very much.
Thank you. We have your contact information, so I'll make sure that we follow up at least to know what is the direct need right away.
Please.
And if there is any grants that'll be coming up when the deadlines start. That way
Yes,
you're
ma'am.
aware before the deadline happens, okay?
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Alrighty, the next citizen may come to speak at the podium if you're ready. Miss Sheila? I think she needs some time to catch her breath. So, Mr. McAdory? There's not a list, Freda. Go ahead. It's pretty much whoever comes. Miss Sheila did reserve a spot, but she's out of breath, so she asked the next couple people to come
I thought you were
and
talking
speak
about me
first.
because I just came in. Hi, this is Freda Tepfer. I live in Erie. I'm wearing my Judy Human shirt again because, as usual, I have some concerns about accessibility in the city. And sidewalks in general. So once again, I want to remind you that the lowest hanging fruit that the city has in installing new sidewalks would be the city parks. Braybender Park, and I'm most familiar with Braybender Park because it's in my neighborhood, but there's a whole bunch of parks on the east side of town that don't have sidewalks. You have various funding sources available either currently or that you can apply for in order to have more sidewalks. And please put sidewalks around your parks. You own the property, you don't have anything, it makes it so much simpler. Speaking of Braybender Park, I'm totally aghast at the fact that it's been turned into the parking lot has been turned into a parking lot for free parking for the businesses on the other side of West 21st Street. This is Braybender Park between Bauer and Emerson. And the south side of the parking lot has been turned into parking and staging area for the M&B contractor for PennDOT. And they have a pile of debris. It may not be the same pile, but it's always there. Sometimes it's rather large, and there are kids living all in the neighborhood. And we have this pile of debris that they can freely get access to, and there's nails in some of the wood. But why is the entire parking lot of a city park turned into free parking for businesses on the one side and a staging area for PennDOT on the other? I think this PennDOT contractor could probably have rented the old ball field from the Roosevelt School. That would be a good place, out of the way and not taking up our park. So that's another concern I have. And I know that the former Public Works Director cut a deal, I was told, I don't know what that means, with the businesses on West 21st to allow them to park for free. Are there other businesses downtown that get to park for free? I doubt it. Once again, I will say we need a traffic study at 8th Street and Green Garden. There ought to be a all-way stop there for the sake of the pedestrians and the motorists. And I know there's a light nearby at the Bayfront Connector, but aren't there lights almost every block downtown? It warrants a study. I don't say we need a traffic light there, we need a stop sign. Hopefully this is not the city's doing. I was aghast when I drove over here. I've been talking with the inspector from the PennDOT project. Nearly every corner of West 26 and and Highway 20 on the way over here has a misapplied sidewalk closure. And I hope that's only PennDOT's work, but what does it take for us to understand that you don't just plop a sign in front of the crossing and say the sidewalk's closed? People need to know it's coming. And you don't tell people to cross in the middle of the street when there's no clear crosswalk and a visually impaired person has no idea what you're telling them to do. Thank you, and I do hope we continue. And we have a sidewalk closure ordinance, but I don't see any places where the city is requiring the entity closing the sidewalk to create an accessible walkway. Thank you.
Thank you, Freda.
Good afternoon, Michael Keys, City of Erie. And I first of all just like to welcome you to the East Side. A lot of things are going on in this neighborhood that City Council has assisted with, and more things need to happen, and the neighborhood would continue to need City Council's support and aid. About 2 blocks this way, there's a street that's now named after the first African American who was elected to City Council, Larry Meredith. And what abuts that street is the Roger Young Park. And we've been lobbying for years and years and years to get improvements to the Roger Young Park. For some reason, the city does not want to invest in itself when municipalities all across the country are investing in themselves and consider parks and recreation part of their infrastructure. To go back on this timeline, when we first proposed upgrading the Roger Young Park, there was no Erie Sports Park yet. There was no Biletnikoff Field that was in play. There was no Dick's Sporting Goods. And so while you sat there and said that these types of things are not necessary, we've seen 3 private entities find out that they must be necessary because they invested their money so that they can have the facilities. And as you see now, our kids go south of the city in order to participate in things that they should be able to do right in their own neighborhood. And you still have time. We still have no parks plan. I suggest that you just build out the Roger Young Park. The money's there. Time is ticking. I went through the ARP buckets yesterday and saw 0, for the parks. Why are we not investing in ourselves? It doesn't make any sense. Number 2, I also saw that there was still $1.5 million sitting in a bucket that said Quinty Park. We made a resolution to move $1 million of those dollars and put it in the general park budget when I was still on council, and it has not been moved. It's not up to the administration to decide which parts of the council's votes voted on legislation to follow and not follow. To digress down that road, we put the public, when I say between the city, the county, and several $1 million into the Quinty Park or the Quinty property, and a few more $1 million are going to go into it. And then after all those millions of dollars, it's going to be sold to somebody for $142,000. And the people who are getting this property that the citizens invested millions of dollars in for $142,000, according to the administration, wants to take that $1.5 million that's sitting there and give it to the nonprofit who does not pay taxes and doesn't even, to my knowledge, pay a pilot. That's a travesty. One, we voted on it, fix it. Two, I think, I'm actually in favor of the plan that the school has to make a multi-use property over there. But the citizens of Erie haven't invested enough. And so I think that even with the other 500,000, that's a decision you'll have to make. But move the million. The million belongs to the parks. It belongs to the people. And let's make sure it is put over there so that people have it.
Thank you.
Good evening. Gary Horton, 2046 East 19th Street, Quality of Life Learning Center, right around the corner. First of all, I want to thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Thank you, City Administration, for recognizing that our neighborhood is important and to bring your program to our neighborhood, so that our people can come out and see firsthand how city government works. We know how difficult your job is, how big a challenge is that you face, trying to serve all of Erie. But the one thing about our neighborhood, half of our neighborhood are kids, 18 and under. A third of them, of the households, are headed by single parent women. We're the most vulnerable neighborhood in Erie. There's no other neighborhood in Erie like ours. So, and we do community engagement, something I hear often that ought to be a part of a project. And that's something that we have embraced in our neighborhood, as you all know well, because you have adopted our plan or made our plan a part of your plan. And so we want to thank you for that. If you haven't come by 18th and Downing to see the Minority Community Investment Coalition's aquaponic facility, you need to go by there on your way out. We couldn't have done it without your help. It came out of the people who live in the neighborhood, who grow food as a living. And for us to be able to turn that into a commercial project, that we might be able to have family wage sustaining employment for people from our neighborhood, that we may be able to generate enough income that we don't have to come back to city council so often to ask you for help. So we couldn't have built that facility without your help. We're still just a little bit short. So if you have a few more ARP dollars or surplus money that you could contribute to that project, we would certainly appreciate that. We raised over $4 million. We are a little less than $1 million away from completing the whole project. And again, I just want to thank you for the help that you've given us. If you can look within your short or long range plan and see what we're doing at Burton School, what we propose to do at Burton School, we know that that also comes out of the Eastside Grassroots Coalition's strategic plan. We know that the police in the city have used that building for years to do dog training in it, to do active shooter training in it. And today we even have a shot spotter piece of equipment on the roof that assists the police in identifying shots fired in our neighborhood or on the east side of Erie. And although they don't like us to say much about that, I recognize the people who are paying for it, the people who live in this neighborhood, deserve for it to be known, because the police cannot do their work by themselves. They need the community support in doing that. We embrace that equipment. We embrace the doorbell cameras that the district attorney has given us. We've had too much trauma, too much violence in our neighborhood. It shouldn't surprise any of you, because you know that violence and trauma follows poverty. They go the same. And that, so your investment in our neighborhood, whether it's criminal justice or better crime prevention or economic development or education or summer jobs for kids, all of those things you have contributed to give us hope in this neighborhood. And you're showing up tonight further solidifies that hope in us, that you're not just overlooking our neighborhood because it's full of children and women. If any neighborhood in Erie needs your help, we do. Again, on behalf of the Urban Erie Community Development Corporation, our board, our staff, all of our people that we serve, our partner here at the John F. Kennedy Center, who we worked well together in this neighborhood, and on behalf of their director, Ms. Mella Hutchinson Bruton, who is not here today, we want to thank you. We want to thank you for what you do. We want to thank you for not forgetting us, and we look forward to continuing to be a partner with you in the future. Again, God bless you. Thank you for coming to our neighborhood this evening.
Thank you. Do we have any other citizens who would like to speak?
Hello, my name is Dana Dickerson. I live at 4046 Wheeler Drive, Erie, PA. I'm a realtor here in Erie, Pennsylvania. I work for Agresti. I was just wondering if there were any grants or any funding that the people of Erie could get to help with closing costs to purchase homes. I've run into a ton of first-time home buyers and a ton of single mothers who have good credit. They've been working, you know, two plus years, but they can't afford the down payment to purchase property. We were going through a couple of the banks that had programs for first-time home buyers, and those are now closed. And I noticed that a lot of investors from out of state are purchasing property here, and they're driving up the rent prices, and they're accepting people on Section 8. And I just feel like it's keeping people stuck in the system rather than the people of Erie being able to provide homes for themselves and purchase their own property. So if you guys have anything that you could be able to give me to help them out, I would appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you.
I'd like to first give honor to God tonight, the creator of heaven and earth. My name is Sheila Ellen Woger, and I'm a resident of the 5th Ward of the city of Erie, Pennsylvania. I did have a script that was written out, but I don't want to take up your time. When I was asked what I wanted to speak on tonight, I told the city clerk the second bullet of the mayor's vision statement, which mentioned vibrant neighborhoods, which ours is not. Whenever I travel down Buffalo Road, I have to keep the tears from falling when I see how Poe's landscaping gentrified what could have been a vibrant African American community. Had HUD funding been directed to where it is needed, to the needy rather than to the greedy. If you will look as you leave John F. Kennedy Center tonight, as you're traveling west on Buffalo Road, and if you look to the south, you'll see some rusted containers that does not make our neighborhood vibrant or to look vibrant. I contacted the code enforcement officer, Steve, I believe, Yurkovic. If I'm pronouncing the name incorrectly, I apologize. I spoke with him about it. I did some research speaking to personnel here at JFK. And when I was a resident at Harbor Homes, and thanks be to God, I'm now a homeowner, but those containers were there. And I found out that when code enforcement thought that the property belonged to JFK, which a part of JFK's property does join in with the other person's property, they were on them tenaciously to have those containers removed. After almost 3 decades, they're still there. And so when I spoke with Steve Yurkovic, he gave me some off-the-wall story, and I had to get permission to come to a board meeting here to inquire about it. And our now late, and I will always refer to him as attorney Larry Meredith, informed me that the situation was taken care of, but it has not been, at least to my satisfaction, and I'm sure to others in the area. And so when I called HUD to ask them about where should the money be going that the city of Erie receives from HUD, which is the acronym for Housing First and then Urban Development, he told me that it's at the mayor's discretion to use the money how he wants to use it. And so I'm compelling you, Mayor, to put the money where it's needed, to the needy and not to the greedy. The mayor allocated $4 million to the Crooks project on West 12th Street, but yet we don't have enough money for, and people that you know, Mayor, are living in housing that should be condemned. You know that, but yet you allocate money to the greedy rather than to the needy, and that needs to stop. I've asked council for an audit of the city of Erie. I have submitted, I don't know how many right to know forms or FOIA forms, all denied, to inspect the finances of the city of Erie. Where's the money going? Not where it should be, so where is it going? I just had a right to know request sent to Redevelopment Authority. They've just awarded 150 families with the Happy Homes program. And I look where some receive $20,000, some receive $5,000. What can you get with $5,000 if you're living in a house that should be condemned, Mayor Schimber? And I'm calling you by name. And then to you, the people, the council. You were voted in by the people. You should be for the people. You were elected by the people. You were not hired by the mayor. So your utmost concern should be the people of Erie, your constituents, those whom you took a vow that you were going to serve. And to you, Miss, could you pronounce your name for me, Miss Schaaf?
Schaaf.
Schaaf, thank you. When you were on Erie Water Authority before this term, I had an issue with the Erie Water Authority. I came to a city council meeting, addressed city council. I should have 8 minutes. Has it been 8 minutes?
It's only 5.
I should have 8 minutes. Thank you.
It's only 5 minutes.
But I asked for 8 minutes.
You don't get 8, you get 5.
The regular, if you just come, you get 5. But I asked for more. But 5 is the maximum? I have so much more to say. But what I'm saying is to you, Mayor, serve the people and not your friends. Thank you. He's going to give me 3 of his minutes. Is that okay? Mr. McAdory.
Is that allowed? Not allowed. No.
Thank you, Council. I'll be back.
Thank you. The next citizen may come up and speak, please.
Good evening, Councilman, Mayor. It's been a long time since I've been up here. Sick now.
Can you just please state your name for the record and the municipality in which you live, sir?
Oh, I'm sorry. Willie McAdory, 445 East 15th Street.
Thank you.
I know you, don't I?
You said you know me?
I think.
I'm the president of Erie City Council.
Ain't you Marisol's daughter?
I am.
Then I know you. How you doing, man?
Okay.
Haven't talked to you in a while. But you know, ain't nobody paying attention. Our young folks in the street, we finna have a problem. And it shouldn't be. That shouldn't be in the community. You know, like our kids is running wild out here. No one seems to care. And I can't understand it. Is we got anything planned from city council with the kids this summer? No programs, right?
We don't normally engage, but I do know that the city helps with different services for the youth. We provide funding for the Spoons League. We provide funding for PALS. So there are initiatives that city council does support in order to keep our youth busy and out of trouble. There needs to be more program. I do agree with you there. But normally we don't engage with residents. You just speak for your 5 minutes, sir.
Beg your pardon? You don't speak for who?
I said we don't normally engage back and forth with residents, so you just speak for the 5 minutes.
Since when is that? When that
Since
come
the
about?
beginning.
No, that ain't been the beginning. We changed that. We changed that policy. Don't tell me about 5 minutes now. But I'm gonna be less than that. What's going on with you, Mr. Wilson? I asked you a question.
Can't hear you, man.
Okay. All right. Well, it's nice seeing y'all again. But I'll be back. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other citizens who would like to be heard? Do we have any other citizens who would like to be heard? Do we have any other citizens who would like to be heard? I'm hearing and seeing none. Lori, you may move on to the next step in our council meeting.
Ordinances for final passage, ordinance number 43, 2024, council file number 16455. City Council of the City of Erie determining to incur lease rental debt evidenced by the guaranteed revenue note in the maximum principal amount of $471,795 to be authorized and issued by Erie City Water Authority in connection with the construction, alteration, and improvements to the public water distribution facilities in and about this city, including but not limited to the lead service line replacement project, Phase 5, and paying related costs, fees, and expenses, specifying the realistic useful life of the project, authorizing and directing appropriate officials of the city to take certain actions and to execute certain documents, including a guarantee agreement between the city as a guarantor and the Erie City Water Authority, the Pennsylvania Infrastructure Investment Authority approving the form, maximum guaranteed amounts and sources of payment of the guarantee agreement, creating a sinking fund in connection with such guarantee obligations, and appointing a sinking fund depository and providing for the repeal of all inconsistent ordinances or parts of ordinances. Sponsored by Councilmember Schaaf, seconded by Councilmember Nelson, the council file ordinance bill number 16455, and now known as official file ordinance 43/2024, be finally passed by City Council. Members Brzezinski, Nelson, Schaaf, Troop, Witherspoon, Flores. City Council pass official file ordinance 43/2024 finally by yea 6, nay 0. Council file number 16456, an ordinance appropriating the sum of $319,580 from unappropriated and unanticipated revenue for the expenditure thereof for the stream bank restoration within Garrison Run through the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development, COVID-19 ARPA Water PA Grant number C0000878891. Sponsored by Councilmember Troop, seconded by Councilmember Witherspoon, the council file ordinance number 16456, having been read, is hereby adopted on first reading by City Council. Members Brzezinski, Nelson, Schaaf, Troop, Witherspoon, Flores. City Council read and adopt council file ordinance 16456 by yea 6, nay 0 on first reading. Council file number 16457, an ordinance appropriating the sum of $200,000 from unappropriated and unanticipated revenue for the expenditure thereof for the stream bank within Cemetery Run through the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development Watershed Restoration and Protection Program grant number C0000083562. Sponsored by Councilmember Troop, seconded by Councilmember Witherspoon. The council file ordinance number 16457, having been read, is hereby adopted on first reading by City Council. Members Brzezinski, Nelson, Schaaf, Troop, Witherspoon, Flores. City Council read and adopt council file ordinance 16457 by yea 6, nay 0 on first reading. Council file number 16458, an ordinance appropriating the sum of $200,000 from unappropriated and unanticipated revenue for the expenditure thereof for the stream bank restoration with Garrison Run through the Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development Watershed Restoration and Protection Program grant number C0000083561. Sponsored by Councilmember Troop, seconded by Councilmember Witherspoon. The council file ordinance number 16458, having been read, is hereby adopted on first reading by City Council. Members Brzezinski, Nelson, Schaaf, Troop, Witherspoon, and Flores. City Council read and adopt council file ordinance number 16458 by yea 6, nay 0 on first reading. Council file number 16459, an ordinance amending Part 1, Title 5, Bureaus by creating Article 131, Bureau of Fire Emergency Services Cost Recovery, to authorize and establish a process and procedure for the recovery of costs for certain emergency services. Sponsored by Councilmember Witherspoon, seconded by Councilmember Brzezinski. The council file ordinance number 16459, having been read, is hereby adopted on first reading by City Council. Members Brzezinski, Nelson, Schaaf, Troop, Witherspoon, Flores. City Council read and adopt council file ordinance 16459 by yea 6, nay 0 on first reading. Madam President, this takes us to new business.
Do I have a motion in the second?
Oh, old business. Why do I always do that?
I don't know, but we're ready.
In old business, we have the votes from the public hearing. Pursuant to the provisions of the City of Erie zoning ordinance at a public hearing held on Wednesday, August 7th at approximately 9:30 a.m. in City Council Chambers, 626 State Street, Municipal Building, Erie, PA, the request of proposed amendments to Articles 2, 3, and 6 of the City of Erie zoning ordinance to amend screening language throughout the ordinance and also define specific screening and off-street parking requirements for short-term rentals be hereby approved, and City Council is authorizing and directing the city solicitor to prepare such an ordinance. Councilmember Brzezinski, Nelson, Schaaf, Troop, Witherspoon, Flores. Resolution passes yea 6, nay 0. The second one is pursuant to the provisions of Article 7 of the City of Erie zoning ordinance, Historic Resource Protection, and a public hearing held Wednesday, August 7th, 2024 at 9:30 a.m. in City Council Chambers, 626 State Street, Erie, PA. The request for local designation of the Erie Federal Courthouse Complex located at 17 South Park Row in the City of Erie as a historic structure be hereby approved, and City Council is authorizing and directing the city solicitor to prepare an ordinance to amend the zoning map and reflect the local designation. Councilmember Brzezinski, Nelson, Schaaf, Troop, Witherspoon, Flores. Resolution passes yea 6, nay 0. Now you could go to new business.
Do I have a motion and a second?
Motion to move the balance?
Second.
Any separations?
3 and 4.
Any other?
Moving the balance of the agenda, members Brzezinski, Nelson, Schaaf, Troop, Witherspoon, Flores. Resolution passes yea 6, nay 0. Number 3, the city solicitor is hereby authorized and directed to prepare an ordinance amending the codified ordinances of the City of Erie, being Part 1, Administrative Code, Title 3, Article 119, Section 119.05, Compensation of the City Treasurer, by increasing the annual compensation amount from $48,000 per year to $65,000 a year, commencing the first Monday of January 2028. Discussion?
No, just like make an amendment to make it to 75.
We had that chat office.
Amendment to 75?
Yeah, that was the recommendation that we had originally received from our deputy
So
solicitor.
we have a motion by Councilmember Nelson and a second by,
I'll second it.
Can we vote those together, Mr. Benson?
so this would increase the annual compensation amount from $48,000 a year to $75,000 a year, commencing the first Monday of January 2028.
For both of them, though. For 3 and 4.
For both of them to 75,000?
Yes.
Okay. Council members Brzezinski, Nelson, Schaaf, Troop, Witherspoon, Flores. Resolution passes as amended, 6-0. On the second one, for the city controller, increasing the annual compensation from $38,000 to $75,000 a year, commencing the first Monday of January 2026. Council members Brzezinski, Nelson, Schaaf, Troop, Witherspoon, Flores. This resolution also passes as amended, 6-0.
I think you might have got the year wrong. Sorry.
Yeah, 28 first and 26.
28 for the treasurer, 26 for
that when the next election's
The
up?
the
Okay.
controller.
Yeah. It's for the new coming individuals who are run for these seats. Alrighty, we're gonna move on to committee reports. I'll start with council member Chuck Nelson, since he seems ready and eager. Go for it.
Hey, we had a zoning hearing board meeting last week. It lasted, I think, 3.5 hours. Yeah. I almost made it to the end. I made it a little bit longer than Kathy to deal with a zoning issue on 10th and State that has become a safety issue at times and has created a number of issues. So that was their zoning went against the business that was operating there. That was the main liaison responsibility I've taken. That's worth reporting. The rest of the stuff is that I went to sort of was business as usual. But that concludes my report. Thank you all for coming out today. It's always really good to see the community come out to these, and look forward to talking to a number of you after.
Alrighty, Councilmember Schock, would you like to go next?
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you for having us, JFK Center. I enjoyed going to these summer meetings. I suggest perhaps next year we go across 38th Street and have one at Joanna Connell School, one at Jefferson School, and one at Grover Cleveland School. So we go east to west across Midtown Erie. So we could see about that one. As council people, when we have assignments that we have, like I'm the liaison to the water and the liaison to the sewer, we as council people cannot wave a wand and get rid of your bills, but we can act as a go-between and give you information so that the person who works in that department, there is someone who is a complaint person for each of those departments, and someone who can adjust your bill accordingly so that you're on a rate basis so much a month. I attended the Water Authority meeting. I wanted to read an article for you, but it's on my phone and I'm having some phone issues, so I'm going to have to save that until the next meeting. The Water Authority has really spread their wings, and they're going into like the Green Township area now, and it's all for the good. We have good, accessible, clean drinking water. The Sewer Authority has a lot of capital campaign maintenance issues that need to be addressed in the future, and we'll be doing study sessions and talking more about the sewer. Again, our infrastructure is old and we don't want a collapse. We have to maintain what we have, just like our homes. I attended the COG meeting today, and sadly, Michelle Jagai, who was heading us up, is moving on and will no longer be with the COG as of August 30th. I thank her for her service. She has brought new members and had been doing great things. At today's meeting, we had Honey Stempka providing us with Lake Erie National Marine Sanctuary. She's the design project manager for that. They are looking for qualified people to be on a commission, but you do want to get your name in because I believe August 28th or the 30th may be the last day for that. But it's very interesting. We have many vessels that have sunk in our Lake Erie, and there can be some tourism opportunities where we have glass bottom boats and educational programs for kindergarten up through the 12th grade. And it would be great to have Lake Erie as a sanctuary established in a few years. So that's very exciting news about that. They need 15 members and 15 alternates. And that's the 28th where that closes. They do have to have federal background checks because this is a federal program. Mentioned national parks today. Very interesting meetings, those COG meetings. So I mentioned the water, the sewer. I attend meetings with other council people. I thank the mayor for Celebrate Erie, our police and fire, all who worked to make it a safe event, and the historic walk that I was on had quite a few people. I was surprised at the number of people that went, and Melinda and Aaron did a great presentation. It was put on by the Jefferson Society and the Historic Society, so we had a great walk there. Speaking of the Jefferson Society, Court Gould had made a presentation about a week or so ago at the Jefferson, and I wasn't able to attend, but I did get the report. There was an extensive study done, and again, because my phone issues, I can't address all the people, but I would like to talk more about that and perhaps bring together some people. I'm going to communicate with Court and the Jefferson Society to learn more. It was about our concerns with child care centers, development of how we need to keep our children stimulated and educated and pay our child care workers more. And as myself, having done about 10 years part-time with child care center and as a teacher, the young years, I definitely agree with their report. Infancy to 3 years old, very developmentally need to be stimulated, educated in the very best possible way. And in Erie, we need to bring this all together and overcome all of our issues and concerns so that people can work in the workforce, get a livable wage, and not have to worry about their children's care during the day. I agree with the woman who talked about the out-of-town buyers. I read and keep abreast of the realty transfers, and also the apartment rentals are skyrocketing. And it's a national issue, but it's here in Erie as well. So I would love for the banks to step up and really get another program in place. I myself, in 1987, bought a house with the FHA loan. So really trying to get that going. And I'm still meeting with people who will listen to me about public restrooms in the city of Erie. I have not let that go. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilmember Brzezinski?
Yes, ma'am. I have to say that a beautiful thing like Celebrate Erie doesn't just happen. And it doesn't just happen because of administration. It happens because of the Port Authority, the Civic Center Authority, all of our workers who, believe it or not, guys worked their regular shift and then came back to volunteer their time to make it a success. Hats off to Chief Dan and his boys. The fire department was on ready alert whenever, thank God we didn't need them, huh? All the way around. I salute everybody. If you see a policeman, be nice to him because he's probably a little bit tired today. Still recovering from the weekend. That's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilmember Moutru?
Thank you. Is this on? Check 1 2 1 2. Is it? No, no. I'm glad to be here tonight at the JFK Center. I grew up here as a kid. Went to preschool here. Went to after school programs here.
Can't hear you.
We need to turn it up. I'm talking as loud. I don't want to scream in it. I'm just gonna. I remember when I was a child. This picture behind us. When I was going here and I was about that girl's age there, I remember when that picture was painted. And we were here for a summer program and the artist came here and painted that picture. So that was a long time ago. I'm just gonna name a few names that I remember from the JFK. Mr. Bobby Harrison, Buddy Porter, Ann Kennard. Miss Thompson was one of my great teachers I ever had. Miss Thompson was here. Derek Carson. I remember a couple of the Hortons, John Horton and Raheem Horton, when I got a little older, they were here working with us and teaching us how to work. Buddy Bryant, Ray Carter, they kind of got me into weightlifting up there. There used to be weights up on the top. They kind of got me into that as a youth. Leon Hooks, I remember he used to be out here with the drill team. My mother, as you see, Larry, my uncle, has been a big part of this. It's good to see Mr. McAdory today, too, a good friend of my father's. Good to see him here today. Also want to we can thank Mr. Chuck Nelson for this idea, for the going to the center, so he deserves credit for that. Celebrate Erie, as we said, was a great success. Thank you, Mayor and your staff, for having us up on the steps. I got to give Michael Keys credit for fighting for that when he was on City Council. Got to give him credit for that. As you know, I work in schools. School's starting next week, so it's time to get back in the swing of things for school. Start getting them back on schedule now. I work at Erie High School. If you ever need to contact me there, I do work there. Get me. As far as for us, Monday, freshmen will start, and then everybody else will start on Tuesday. So that's the Erie High School. In my 20-something years of education, I've found that parents that stay involved, they get more out of the school system. They get more out of it when they're actually involved with it. And also, I wanted to echo Mr. Brzezinski's words, Councilman Brzezinski's words about Woody Thompson. I'd like to say, pay my condolences to his family. We know Woody was a great athlete that played in Erie. He made it to the NFL. But Woody was also a mentor. A lot of people don't talk about that. When I was in high school, he was a mentor to a lot of us that played in high school. Took his time. He took a group of us one time to the Big 33 game, which is about 8 hours away from here, just to watch the game, about 10 of us down there with him. and he would mentor us. So that's a part of aspect of his life that most people don't know about, that he was a mentor as well. He spent a lot of time with us. So that's all I want to say today. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Witherspoon?
Thank you, Madam President. As a liaison to the police department this month, so far they have responded to 1,344 calls for service. On August 14th, they responded to shots fired in the 1500 block of Buffalo Road. That situation is currently being investigated. Also, a 16-year-old was stopped. He had a stolen gun, and that gun had a switch on it that would turn it into an automatic weapon. Our police department has been very busy. On Sunday, we had a group of youth down Celebrate Erie, and one group confronted the other group, and our police department had to use tear gas to disband them. Also, I'd like to report that the Summer Basketball League, tomorrow is championship day, 5:30 and 6:30. My 9 and 10-year-olds championship was this past Monday. The 13-14 and the 11-12 will be playing tomorrow, 5:30 and 6:15. Would love to have you out there to see these young men and women play for the gold. As a reminder, the 13 to 14-year-olds, females, has been my main problem. The guys aren't fighting, it's the young ladies. As a result, the BFU, which is the Black Frat United, has provided community security. And that's Mr. Greg Myers' group and Mr. Lee Smith group, along with the Blue Coats. Thus far, we have not had any other disturbances, which tells me that when adults in our community provide security, we are beginning to police ourselves. We can't blame anyone else for any problems we have when we're fighting ourselves. And the fight starts because someone talked about another on Facebook, and they'll put it right on Facebook. Well, I'll meet you down at Spoon's Court. I always tell them, go down to Perry Square. You got security down there. The mayor can look out his window. He can see a good fight. Go down there. But they come to the court because we have a lot of people there watching the games. But I thank the Greg Myers of the world and Lee Smith, Erie Police Department. They're there every game. Every game. We appreciate that very much. I want to give a special shout out to Mr. Willie C. McAdory, better known as Mac to me. We go back a long ways, and to see him here tonight does me well, because he should be home resting. Yeah, that's right, Mac. I'm talking about you. But he came here. We know him when he was healthy. When he came down City Hall, he's the only one that within his 5 minutes, his phone rang and he was talking on the phone and he said to whoever it was, yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm down here now. Bye. And I shook my head, and afterwards we talked. I say, Willie C., you know you can't get no extra minute because you're on the phone. But Willie C., I'm glad to see you here. I'm glad to see Mr. Gary Horton here. Mr. Horton's daughter played in the league many years ago. Outstanding athlete. In closing, many people think, oh, it's just Spoon's Basketball League. We keep kids out of trouble. 5 hours a day. That's what we do. We may have a little disturbance there, but we handle it. We've been handling it for 34 years. 34 years. So tomorrow, championship starts at 5:30. That'll be the 11 and 12-year-olds, and the 13 and 14 will follow. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. I just wanted to take a moment and thank the JFK for hosting us tonight and the director, Samila Houston Bruton. If I messed up your first name, I apologize. I also wanted to just thank our residents for, oh, can't hear me? Can you hear me now? Okay, so I wanted to just take a second and thank JFK for allowing us to host our last summer tour meeting here in their center. I wanted to thank directly the executive director, Samila Houston Bruton. I hope I did not butcher her name. I also just wanted to say thank you to the residents who did come out and participate in the last 3 evening council meetings we had on our summer tour. It showed that us making ourselves available to you does have a lasting effect as far as people coming out and feeling welcome to speak. So hopefully next year we will grow on this effort. I wanted to just say thank you to the sponsors, the volunteers, the planners, the performers, vendors, and then also our wonderful residents for the celebration that we had last week for Celebrate Erie. It was a great turnout. People really enjoyed themselves. Yes, we're gonna have a few incidents, but the fact that we're able to continue on course like nothing happened is something to celebrate. I wanted to say that slowly but surely our summer is wrapping up. I know I gotta be the bearer of bad news, but we have one more movie night, and that is going to be a Monday movie night for the Erie Downtown Partnership, which is going to be August 26th, and that is the That Thing You Do. That movie was filmed here in our city, so it is nice to be able to see that on the big screen. So Perry Square will start that on the 26th at 8 p.m. It is a good movie, and I never knew until I was an adult that that was filmed here. So, you know, the more you know. We also have I think 1 or 2 more 8 Great Tuesdays. One more, Kathy, thank you. And then we have our Seawolves games that will slowly be going out into the fall season. I also just wanted to say, everybody mark your calendar. Next month is the start of Hispanic and Latino Heritage Month, and on September 14th in Perry Square, we will have the 2nd annual Fiesta on the Square, going from noon to 7. As someone who is Latino, I appreciate the fact that we're doing something to include our community that doesn't necessarily show up and as vocal as some of our other communities. So this is a good show to see who's here in our community, who's keeping us vibrant, who's investing in buying houses here. So that's great. And Hispanic and Latino Heritage Month goes from September 15th through October 15th. And I just want you to be marking your calendars because they'll be held at Perry Square on the 14th, noon to 7. And I hope for a great show, because it is always very, very amazing to see all of the diversity and inclusion and people having a good time in our city. So that is all I have to report. I will yield the rest of my time to ask the solicitors if they have anything to report.
No
I
report.
see nothing. And our mayor, would you have anything to report?
Yes, I'm going to give a quick report if that's okay. First of all, I had an incredible experience today. They just set up a new program that I'll be involved with. It'll be about once a month. We met with all the immigrants and refugees who came here who have been going through training. And there were supposed to be about 55 there, but only 30 were able to come. The others had things they had to do. But it was at 501 East 12th Street, that church there. And it's run by Catholic Charities, Counseling, and Adoption Services. And I was really impressed. This place it was a school at one time. It's not anymore. But they use it now to educate these new refugees coming here and teach them English and things like that. I was just very, very impressed with that. On Monday this week, Sacred Heart and St. Paul's they've combined their two finance committees into one now, and so everything's being handled. And there's not a problem with finances in those two parishes right now, other than just trying to figure out how best to handle this, how many people to hire, who not to, that sort of thing. So we're going through a lot, but it was really pretty easy. On Friday of last week, the 16th, I went to a citizenship ceremony, which there's 10 of those every year. I've been going to every one because those really put me on a high. These are new Americans, obviously. There's usually 50 there. There was only 21 last Friday. But they typically have spent years being educated, learning things, and when they become citizens, it's just a great feeling, I think, for everybody in the room to see that happen. Also, thank you for those of you that mentioned Celebrate Erie. I totally agree. It was a very great experience. I love that. Erie Insurance, back on Wednesday the 14th, Erie Insurance presented checks to 10 individuals here in Erie, or groups, that have been doing a good job with things, and they presented money to them. It was as low as $25,000 of the 10. One group got $100,000. I'm very proud to say that was the Police Athletic League. They got $100,000 to use in what they do to basically help young kids understand what it is to be a policeman, get to know our police as people. And I can tell you, on Christmas, I always take one evening and travel around with the police when they go to deliver Christmas presents to the kids that go through this. 40% of them will say they want to be police when they grow up, and they're mostly minorities. And it's really good to hear that. The local concerts, I think you might have mentioned already, our local concerts, which took place on Monday and Sunday and Monday for the last 6 weeks, are unfortunately now over. It was a great experience. I went to all those and had a chance to introduce them. And finally, I just want to mention back on Thursday, August 8th, our city Bluecoats did a stack patrol over at 21st and Parade. And some of you I know appeared there and got to experience it. Went from 11 to 12:30, and it was really a great experience. So been a lot of good things going on. We're trying to listen to everybody. We want to keep making everything better, absolutely. So thanks very much.
Alrighty, thank you, Mayor. And this concludes our city council meeting for August.
City Council adjourns at 7:46 p.m. President Flores, members Brzezinski, Nelson, Schaaf, Troop, and Witherspoon.